Even though Lil Scrappy has been raising a kid for years, what if I told you that he isn't the child's father? A hidden DNA test, a covert betrayal, and a truth so agonizing that even Erica was unable to speak it out to him. This is more than simply hip and love. Hip-hop drama. This is heartbreaking. We also have all the explosive details. It seemed to be another typical Thursday in Atlanta. Lil Scrappy had finished a late-night recording session, rapping on suffering, loyalty, and being faithful to oneself while moving to a hard-hitting rhythm. Every bit of authenticity he threw in was recorded by the microphone. However, the world was unaware of the true. His music was devoid of drama. It happened in his private life. Well, and it was going to blow up. Exhausted but content, his phone chimed as he climbed into his black SUV. Erica Dixon sent me a straightforward text. 5 terrifying words without any drama or emoticons. We must now speak. He dismissed it at first. Perhaps it was about co-parenting once again. Perhaps she just needed something. However, then came the second message. It has to do with your kid. His hands became cold. The motor sat at a standstill. Time paused. The envelope of DNA. Erica drove up to his unit later that day. Not with fire or fury, but with holding a manila envelope. No shouting match, no camera crew, just a calm tension that's thick enough to cut with a blade. Sit down, she urged. Simply read it. Scrappy took a glance at the letter. The manner she'd been holding it had left it sealed, rigid and somewhat crumpled. He gently opened it and saw words he had never seen in 1,000 years. Paternity. Probability is 0. 0% not recognized as the biological father. After blinking once and again, his heart fell. Nah, no. This cannot not be real. He stumbled. Are you playing? Is this some kind of hip-hop or love prank? Erica's expression remained fixed. I wasn't sure. I brought him in and administered the exam myself. Scrappy, it's not your son. After then, the quiet seemed louder than any diss track he had ever made. Years wasted. Scrappy got to his feet and paced the living room with his eyes wide and his fists tight. I was there during his birth. I taught him how to ride a bike, Erica. I accompanied him to his first bed filming. Are you saying that everything was a lie? Erica did not recoil. It was real. Simply put, you weren't the father. It was cruel, chilly, clinical, and tenacious. Placed a palm on his forehead and sat down once again. He was devastated, not just furious. That evening, Scrappy shared a post that went viral on the internet. Mysterious post on his Instagram story. There is nothing to guide. It is just a single phrase. The truth doesn't always liberate you. It buried you. The fans went crazy. Twitter was on fire in a matter of minutes. Is Scrappy referring to Erica? Did he just discover that the children weren't his? This don't talk about Lil Man. The online investigators set to work analyzing infant photos and locating historical film, including all of the interviews in which Scrappy spoke passionately about parenthood. The pain was genuine, and the general public. Within the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta cast group chat, the actors respond. It became nasty. It was Bambi Scrappy's now-arranged wife who opened fire. Hold on, is he involved? Scrappy, the same youngster, named his everything. Erica is crazy. The other actors said nothing, but later, a small number of images would surface, displaying responses that ranged from perplexity to outright rumors. Additionally, Erica replied, "Truth hurts, but lies destroy," in a single Instagram post. In under 3 hours, the post received 60 likes. This cannot be saved by music. The following day, Scrappy used music, the only thing he knew how to do to try to conceal the agony. Returning to the studio, he set up a raw freestyle, but I couldn't find the right phrases. He was unable to complete the hook. The engineer bent forward. "Scrap you good, yeah?" Slowly, he shook his head. "How the Ben? I just found out my whole life, so how in the world am I expected to rap about being real? False." It went beyond simple treachery. It was a crisis of identity. A leak that makes everything different. The first genuine stunner followed. A mysterious text conversations between Erica and Kirk Frost were released by a source who was allegedly a dissatisfied production assistant. About 2 years ago. Are you certain the child is yours, Kirk? Don't even resemble him. Fodder. Let's just say I have other plans, Erica. The communications took off like wildfire. YouTube revealed videos, TikTok breakdowns, and Reddit discussions. All of a sudden, the drama had gone worldwide. Fans weren't just asking Erica questions. Everything was being questioned by them. The live feed that evening ended on a cliffhanger. Scrappy got online. His eyes were inflamed and his face was puffy. No bling, no bluster, simply suffering. He shook his head while looking into the camera. I've been misled. Committed a falsehood to my spirit. And you all are entitled to the truth. He stopped and inhaled deeply. As he opened his mouth to begin, thousands of people swarmed the live chat. It glittered on the screen. Blackout. Rake in. Chains is honored by Kendrick and hip-hop. Forever was astonished by Whip's new track with a bar. This version has more conflict, depth, and a seamless transition to the first significant twist. The world paused as Kendrick Lamar dropped Whips and Chains, began to listen to meaning when listening to music. A dot. From the first bar to fans. Realized something serious was going on with the last snare. However, there was a single bar in verse 2 that immediately became the internet's focal point. Only 9 words. He said, I'm the prayer, not the God. Hip-hop was divided in two by this bar. Fans first saw it as a humble moment, a poetic bow to the artist many refer to be the godfather of current flow. Rake deserves a heartfelt respect. Fire-filled timelines, emojis, fan art, and even side-by-side edits of Kendrick and Rake with captions like, the bar that shook the temple and student meets source. Then, however, things began to change. It seemed subtle at first. Some fans are doubting the timing, the tone, and the placement. A podcast episode from an old-school hipster followed. Analyzer known as Bars Decoded. The host shattered the bar, in it with icy clarity. Kendrick isn't only complimenting Rake, putting himself in Rake's shoes. He is the outcome, not the follower. That isn't a tribute. It's a competitor. Kendrick quickly grasped it. Post a dot. According to Kendrick, he is the fulfillment. Throughout Rake's whole career, is it a takeover or a tribute? The remarks are harsh. I would feel degraded and unappreciated if I were referred to as the solution to all of my hard work. The home was constructed by Rake. According to Kendrick, he is the house. Debates broke out all across the internet in a matter of hours. Old heads, fight rappers, hip-hop academics, and Gen Everybody has an opinion about Z-bar analysis. And the situation became much more chaotic when an old video footage from a Kendrick interview from 2018 reappeared in it. Which MC influenced your style the most? Is the question posed to Kendrick. His response was, no doubt, Rake. I looked at the structure and breath control. He taught me how to make words walk, he says, adding, but I built my own house using his structure. Living in his house alone was never my goal. The phrase, build my own house, started to gain popularity. Kendrick constructed it, as a hashtag would say. At that point, the issue became really severe. In a significant post, a confirmed music reviewer at Versus and Vinyl claimed that Chains and Whips was not only an impromptu release but the start of a secret idea series, a much larger rollout. Each song subtly reveals the stress of the inheritance. Between Kendrick and the pioneers of hip-hop, send a tweet. Among the 5 threads, insider information. In 2021, Kendrick created a 3-track album titled Vault, which was centered on the themes of influence, lineage, and outgrowing idols. The first punch was always supposed to be Chains and Whips. That post was shared more than 90,000 times. Then the first armor fracture appeared. The camp of Rake spoke. Arriving late, Rake's longtime manager, Marley Sheed, shared a pure black screen with 4 lines of text on his Instagram story that night. We don't perform subliminals. Successors are not crowned by us. Peace, not noise, is what we value. Silence is a sign of constraint, not approbation. No hashtags or tags. For fans, however, everyone knew precisely who it was. Rake was angry where the stun dot was. For a minute, the internet froze. Then it exploded once again. Messier, louder, and far more polarized. Kendrick's supporters returned fire. You were able to talk for 30 years. Now that someone is calling your name, you make fun of them. Kendrick presented flowers. At a bar with flames. Too old to understand subtleties. Rake's supporters clapped back. Kendrick weaponized regard. He's positioning, not complimenting. God doesn't have to respond. Clout is weaker than silence. Additionally, just as it seemed that the situation couldn't get much worse, a leaked dot of an unpublished collaboration, under the moniker T-Vault Cleaner, an enigmatic Reddit post surfaced. It included a grainy screen grab from a studio. Kendrick X Rame's 2019 Vault song, Scrolls of God, has a 1-minute musical clip and is unquestionably authentic. Raw and unmixed, the voices were very clear. It had a sluggish, boom-bap, gloomy rhythm with layered piano. Smooth, yet razor-sharp. Thus, when I talk, it's my curses, but your rhythm. The fans went crazy. This was more than a lost collaboration. This was unresolved issues. And it is obvious that this tension gave rise to chains and whips. The song was pulled in 2 hours. However, the harm had already been done. It was featured on all of the big blogs. According to the leaked title of the hot new wife brand, Kendrick and Rake had an underlying conflict for years. Even more startling. An online follow-up article purportedly released from a TDE internal letter dated 2020. Bloodlines Project Delayed Indefinitely was the title of the file. Notes on Rake and Kendrick's artistic disagreements were included. The sentence that caught my attention made me uneasy. In terms of tone, feels that the tribute is too complex and self-centered. KL doesn't agree. Unresolved, the meeting concluded. The tribute then abruptly collapsed. What was once thought to be a deep bow of respect was now being reinterpreted as a convoluted, tumultuous, and incomplete partnership. Rake had been recognized by Kendrick, but not in a as Rake desired. Meanwhile, chaos was erupting. Kendrick pays tribute to Rake in hip-hop was permanently startled by Chains and Whips' new hit with a bar. This section makes the public and someone more tense. Unanticipated forays into the storm. Come on, Dot. When God's scrolls begin to leak, the internet froze when it descended. One rhythm, 2 voices, and a discourse that, until now, never reached daylight. Fans heard more than just teamwork in the song. Rake, it was a crash. Kendrick responded with poetry after he talked in parables. However, there was something strange and incomplete between the lines, and the fissures could not be concealed now, that it was out. The story was changing. It was now evident that what had begun as a poetic homage in Whips and Chains was a part of a wider covert conflict, a silent conflict over legacy ego. Who will be the next to carry the torch? A dot. However, it was just the start. Due of the rapid fallout. Key figures in the hip-hop scene started responding within hours. Swizzed respect to both titans came first. However, this is no longer merely bars. This concerns the author of the upcoming chapter. They recorded together. They knew this moment, DJ Premier tweeted. Was about to happen when Q-Tip intervened, with a move that shocked some. Some of you never paid enough attention, and some of you forgot what Rake stands for. But the revelation came from Andre 3000, someone no one anticipated. He broke his silence by posting a statement to Instagram stories. In order to develop his voice, I observed Kendrick move through shadows. However, light is necessary for even shadows to exist. The light is Rake. The echo is keen. Without the other, neither would exist. The fans went crazy. Andre was commended by some for establishing equilibrium. Others said he only made matters worse. Balance isn't that. Just so you know, Kendrick is still the number 2. No. He referred to Kendrick as an echo, and his insulting arguments grew into emotional strands. Kendrick is too fixated with legacy. Was Rake ever helpful in the background? Are elderly people hateful? Across platforms, passing the microphone blew up, and just before everything began to chill off, the twist came. It was a leaked private video. Title, Studio Open and Honest. Kendrick 2021. Never made available in shaky video. Kendrick is seated in a room with little lighting. Get up. On the table is a notebook. The camera was close up. He's not rapping, it's speaking. There's something about paying homage that folks don't understand. In this society, honoring someone either elevates them or you let them know you're too old for them. He stops. His gaze remained fixed on the table. I made an effort to accomplish both. I believe that's what unnerved him. Double quotations. Boom. Verification. All the supporters had suspected. Spoken out loud now. The prayer bar. He replied. My reality was that. However, telling the truth doesn't always feel nice to the person you from whom I learnt it. The internet went crazy. Think pieces, reiterations, and reaction videos. Everybody wanted a side. And there was no compromise this time. Evolution or #echo began to gain popularity. With Kendrick, some were finished. He no longer pays respect. To Rake. He's taking his place. The backhandedest homage in hip-hop history is this one. Some people doubled. Kendrick is demonstrating the complexity of impact in his argument. You may outgrow your heroes. It's art. Rake remained mute during all of this, but another voice cut through the cacophony. A voicemail sent to a hip, anonymously page of hop leaks greater than K... designated RK voicemail with an unpublished answer. Create the man's. Voice was deep, clear, and unquestionably Rake. A man's journey doesn't have to be rewritten so that it is significant. He must be surpassed in order to be remembered. Echoes are the only way they know you. Next, you never had a voice of your own. Additionally, I isn't your dad. You're not my echo. You're simply one more stanza in a lengthy poem. Go ahead and scroll. It wasn't a jab. It was a declaration. Rake just said it clearly. He doesn't feel flattered. He's not impressed. Not taking part in the story Kendrick is constructing. He is revising it. Although the audio lasted barely 31 seconds, it spread more quickly than any one line in Whips and Chains. A dot. Additionally, for the first, the roles were reversed in time. Kendrick now seemed to be the one reaching. Rake, the one dot that rejects. It was no longer concerning bars, concerned placement, and everyone was curious about what might happen. Next. If you believe that this marks the end of the narrative, reconsider. The reality is beginning to fall apart. Additionally, what Lil next on that Instagram live, according to Scrappy, will leave you unable to speak. Who really was behind the falsehood? Was it just Erica? And what made Kirk aware of these 2 years in the past? You do not want to overlook what's upcoming. Thus, be sure to bash that button. Hit the subscribe to the channel button, bell symbol, because part 2 is really out soon. And it gets more messier, I promise. Please leave a remark below. Was Erica mistaken for conducting the DNA test that was related to Scrappy's back, or did she ultimately take the necessary action to be carried out? Every comment is being read by us. Give voice to the truth.